Have you ever walked through a garden center, stopped in front of a beautiful fruit tree, and thought, I'd love to grow one, but I just don't have the room? You're not alone. For years, I believed fruit trees belonged in sprawling orchards or large backyards. Every time I saw someone harvesting baskets of peaches, lemons, or apples, I assumed they had acres of land that I simply didn't have. Then one afternoon, I visited a retired couple whose entire orchard fit on a small patio. There were lemons hanging beside the front steps, blueberries growing in decorative pots, a fig tree tucked into one sunny corner. Even a peach tree loaded with fruit stood beside a simple garden bench. That visit completely changed the way I thought about gardening. Here's what most people don't realize. Many modern dwarf fruit trees aren't just small, they're incredibly productive. When given the right container, enough sunlight, and a little care, they can produce impressive harvests while taking up only a fraction of the space of traditional orchard trees. Today, we're counting down 15 high-yield dwarf fruit trees that thrive in containers, making it possible for almost anyone to enjoy fresh fruit at home. Some of these trees can surprise you with just how much fruit they produce. One has been feeding families for thousands of years, another fills the air with incredible fragrance before producing its harvest, and the number one tree is the one I recommend to nearly every beginner. Let's start with a tree that's often overlooked but deserves a place in far more gardens. Number 15. Dwarf mulberry, small tree, astonishing harvests. If you've never tasted a mulberry fresh from the tree, you're in for a surprise. The berries begin as tiny green clusters before slowly turning red and finally deep purple, almost black, when fully ripe. Hanging beneath bright green leaves, they look like little jewels waiting to be picked. The flavor is wonderfully sweet, somewhere between a blackberry and a raspberry, with a richness that's hard to find in store-bought fruit. Compact varieties like Girardi Dwarf make container growing surprisingly easy. Unlike standard mulberries that can become massive, these smaller trees stay manageable while producing generous harvests year after year. They thrive in full sun and adapt to many soil types, provided the container drains well. Here's one trick experienced gardeners use. Place an old sheet beneath the tree when berries begin ripening. A gentle shake allows perfectly ripe fruit to fall naturally, making harvest quick and easy. Sometimes the most productive trees are also the least demanding, and the next one has been treasured since biblical times. Number 14. Fig, the ancient fruit tree that loves containers. Few fruit trees combine history, beauty, and productivity quite like the fig. Its large, deeply lobed leaves create a lush Mediterranean look, while soft fruits slowly swell beneath the branches until they're ready to harvest. One warm summer morning, you step outside, pick a perfectly ripe fig, and enjoy a sweetness that's almost impossible to compare with supermarket fruit. One reason figs thrive in containers is that they don't mind having slightly restricted roots. In fact, that gentle confinement often encourages the tree to focus on producing fruit instead of excessive leafy growth. Choose varieties like Brown Turkey, Celeste, or Little Miss Figgy for dependable container performance. Give your figs 6 to 8 hours of sunlight, water deeply when the soil begins to dry, and avoid keeping the roots constantly wet. Loves mild winters and long, warm summers. Many figs remain outdoors year-round. In colder climates, simply move the pot to a protected location during winter. A single healthy fig tree can provide baskets of fruit for years. That's a remarkable return from one container. Number 13. Dwarf apple, orchard flavor without the orchard. There's something nostalgic about apples. Spring begins with clouds of soft pink and white blossoms humming with bees. By late summer, crisp apples begin coloring from pale green into brilliant reds, yellows, or blush pinks depending on the variety. Modern dwarf rootstocks have made it possible to grow favorites like Honeycrisp, Gala, and Fuji in surprisingly small spaces. These trees stay compact while producing full-sized fruit. Plant them in a large container filled with rich, well-draining soil, and give them plenty of sunshine. One thing beginners often overlook is pollination. Some apple varieties need another compatible apple nearby, while others are self-fertile. Checking this before you buy can make all the difference. There's nothing quite like biting into an apple you picked only moments before. Freshness really does change the flavor. Number 12. Meyer lemon, the gift that keeps giving. Even before the fruit appears, a Meyer lemon tree wins people over. Tiny white blossoms open among glossy green leaves, filling the air with a sweet citrus fragrance that drifts across the patio. Months later, those blossoms become bright golden lemons that seem to glow in the sunshine. Unlike standard lemons, Meyer lemons are slightly sweeter and less acidic, making them favorites for cooking, desserts, and fresh lemonade. They're naturally compact, making them ideal for containers. Water deeply, but always allow the top inch of soil to dry before watering again. In colder climates, simply move the tree indoors near a sunny window during winter. Many gardeners say their Meyer lemon quickly becomes the centerpiece of the patio, not just because of the fruit, but because something beautiful is happening almost every season. By now, you're probably seeing the pattern. The secret isn't finding tiny fruit trees. It's finding trees that naturally produce generous harvests without demanding huge amounts of space. And we're only getting started. The next 4 trees include one that practically glows in autumn, another tropical favorite, and one that produces fruit so beautiful it almost seems too perfect to eat. Number 11. Blueberry, tiny shrub, big harvest. Blueberries prove that great things often come in small packages. In spring, delicate bell-shaped flowers cover the branches. By summer, dusty blueberries appear in generous clusters. Then autumn transforms the leaves into brilliant shades of crimson and orange. Few fruiting plants offer beauty in every season quite like blueberries. Compact varieties such as Top Hat and Sunshine Blue perform exceptionally well in containers because you can easily maintain the acidic soil they require. Plant 2 compatible varieties if possible. The extra pollination often means heavier crops and sweeter berries. Imagine stepping outside each morning with a small bowl, collecting fresh blueberries before breakfast. Those simple routines often become gardening's greatest pleasures. Number 10. Guava, tropical flavor in a pot. Most people imagine guava growing in tropical orchards. What surprises many gardeners is how well compact varieties adapt to containers. Their glossy evergreen leaves create a lush appearance, while creamy white blossoms eventually develop into fragrant green and golden fruit with wonderfully sweet flesh. Guavas love warmth, sunshine, and regular watering while they're actively growing. Rotate the container every couple of weeks so all sides receive even sunlight. It's a simple trick that keeps the tree balanced and productive. If you live where winters are cold, containers make protection easy. Move the tree indoors before frost, then return it outside once warm weather returns. Growing guava feels a little like bringing a tropical vacation home. Number 9. Pomegranate, a living treasure chest. Long before the fruit develops, pomegranate trees put on a spectacular show. Brilliant orange-red blossoms appear like tiny lanterns scattered across glossy green branches. Then those flowers become round fruit, hiding hundreds of sparkling ruby-red seeds inside. Compact varieties like Nana are excellent choices for containers. They love sunshine, tolerate dry conditions once established, and require very little fuss. One important tip is patience. Pomegranates don't continue ripening after harvest. Wait until they're richly colored and feel heavy before picking. Your patience will be rewarded with sweeter fruit. Number 8. Dwarf peach, summer in every bite. If spring had a signature flower, it might belong to the peach tree. Before the leaves even emerge, soft pink blossoms completely cover the branches, creating one of the most breathtaking displays in the garden. Soon afterward, tiny fuzzy peaches begin forming. By midsummer, they're glowing with shades of gold, orange, and crimson. Compact varieties like Bonanza stay small enough for containers while producing surprisingly generous harvests. Give them full sun, regular watering, and don't be afraid to thin crowded fruit early in the season. Removing a few small peaches allows the remaining fruit to become larger, sweeter, and healthier. Sometimes growing more means knowing when to grow less. If you've stayed with me this far, you've probably noticed something remarkable. None of these trees require a sprawling backyard. None demand an expensive greenhouse. And none expect you to become a master gardener overnight. The secret has never been having more land. It's choosing fruit trees that naturally stay compact while producing surprisingly generous harvests. And the final 7 trees might be the most rewarding of them all. Let's continue. Number 7. Dwarf cherry, a spring showstopper. Every spring, cherry trees put on one of nature's most unforgettable performances. For a few magical weeks, the branches disappear beneath clouds of delicate white and pale pink blossoms. Bees arrive almost immediately, filling the tree with gentle movement before tiny green cherries quietly begin to appear. As summer approaches, those little fruits slowly deepen into brilliant shades of ruby red or rich burgundy. Modern varieties like Compact Stella and North Star make this possible even in containers. Many are self-pollinating, which means you can enjoy fresh cherries without needing a second tree nearby. Plant your cherry where it receives at least 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight, water consistently during hot weather, and protect ripening fruit with lightweight netting if birds become too interested. A bowl of freshly picked cherries rarely makes it all the way back into the kitchen. And honestly, that's part of the fun. Number 6. Dwarf plum, the quiet producer. Plum trees rarely receive the attention they deserve, yet season after season, they quietly reward gardeners with beautiful harvests. Spring begins with elegant white blossoms covering every branch. By midsummer, smooth-skinned fruit appears in rich shades of deep purple, crimson, golden yellow, or even green, depending on the variety. Compact cultivars like Santa Rosa or Methley adapt beautifully to large containers. They appreciate rich, well-draining soil, full sunshine, and steady watering while fruit is developing. One helpful secret is to prune lightly each winter. Removing crowded branches improves airflow, encourages healthier growth, and allows sunlight to reach developing fruit more evenly. Sometimes, the most reliable fruit tree is the one people overlook. By now, you're probably starting to imagine where one of these trees could fit. Maybe beside the front porch, perhaps on a sunny balcony, or lining the edge of your patio. That's exactly how most container orchards begin. Not with 15 trees, with one, and the next 5 make choosing that first tree even harder. Number 5. Dwarf pear. Elegant and surprisingly productive. Pear trees have a quiet elegance. Their glossy leaves shimmer in the breeze, while clusters of white blossoms announce the arrival of spring. Months later, graceful pears begin hanging beneath the branches, slowly growing heavier as harvest approaches. Compact varieties like Garden Pearl and other dwarf pears fit beautifully into decorative containers. Many produce full-sized fruit despite taking up very little space. Pears enjoy full sun, fertile, well-draining soil, and consistent watering during the growing season. If your variety isn't self-fertile, planting another compatible pear nearby can dramatically improve fruit production. Few things compare to slicing into a perfectly ripe pear that ripen naturally on the tree instead of during transportation. It's a sweet you simply can't buy. Number 4. Dwarf nectarine, summer's sweetest surprise. If peaches are wonderful, nectarines somehow feel even more luxurious. Their smooth, glossy skin glows with rich shades of crimson and golden orange, while the juicy flesh inside delivers incredible sweetness. Even before the fruit develops, the tree becomes a spring centerpiece. Soft pink blossoms cover every branch, attracting bees and butterflies from across the garden. Compact varieties like Nectar Babes stay small enough for containers while producing generous harvests. Like peaches, nectarines love sunshine. The more direct sunlight they receive, the sweeter the fruit becomes. One useful trick is thinning overcrowded fruit shortly after it forms. The remaining nectarines grow larger, healthier, and far more flavorful. Sometimes growing better fruit means growing fewer fruits. Nature has a funny way of rewarding patience. Number 3. Avocado. Yes, it really can grow in a pot. Whenever people hear container avocado, they usually raise an eyebrow. Really? Yes. Thanks to compact varieties like Wurtz, often called Little Cato, growing avocados in containers is now entirely possible. Their rich evergreen foliage makes them attractive throughout the year, even before fruit appears. The biggest key to success is excellent drainage. Avocados dislike wet feet. Choose a loose potting mix, a large container with generous drainage holes, and water only after the upper layer of soil begins drying. If you live in where winters are mild and freezing temperatures are rare, your tree may stay outdoors year-round. Elsewhere, simply move it inside before freezing temperatures arrive. The first avocado may take time, but once you harvest one from your own patio, you'll understand why gardeners happily wait. Number 2. Olive, beauty that lasts every season. Not every fruit tree is grown only for its harvest. Sometimes it's grown because it's simply beautiful. Olive trees have slender, silver-green leaves that shimmer whenever sunlight catches them. Their slow, graceful growth makes them one of the easiest fruit trees to maintain in containers. Unlike vigorous trees that constantly outgrow their pots, olives remain naturally compact. They're wonderfully drought-tolerant once established and thrive in bright sunshine with excellent drainage. In warmer weather, many remain outdoors throughout the year. Elsewhere, they're easy to protect during winter by moving them into a bright, sheltered location. Even when they're not carrying fruit, olive trees bring timeless elegance to patios, balconies, and entryways. Sometimes beauty alone is enough reason to grow something, but our final tree offers beauty, fragrance, and incredible harvests. Number 1. Dwarf citrus, the ultimate container fruit tree. If I could recommend only one fruit tree for someone just beginning container gardening, this would be it. Dwarf citrus. Whether it's a Meyer lemon, mandarin, lime, kumquat, or compact orange, few trees offer so much in such a small space. In spring, clusters of delicate white blossoms perfume the air with one of the sweetest fragrances in the garden. Months later, bright fruit hangs among glossy evergreen leaves like ornaments. Unlike many fruit trees, citrus often remains attractive throughout the year. There's always something happening. New leaves, fresh blossoms, ripening fruit. That's part of what makes them so rewarding. Give them 6 to 8 hours of sunshine, water deeply when needed, feed regularly during the growing season, and protect them from frost if you live in a colder climate. Do that, and they'll reward you with fresh citrus for many years. It's no surprise they're the first tree many gardeners fall in love with. If you've been waiting for the perfect backyard before growing fruit, maybe today is the day to stop waiting. Because these 15 trees prove something important. You don't need acres. You don't need expensive equipment. And you certainly don't need years of experience. A sunny corner, a sturdy container, healthy soil, consistent watering. That's enough to begin. Don't try growing all 15. Choose the one that excites you most. Learn how it grows. Celebrate the first blossoms. Protect the first tiny fruits. Then enjoy that unforgettable first harvest. Next season, add another tree. Before long, you'll look around and realize your tiny patio has quietly become the orchard you once thought was impossible. Picture yourself walking outside next summer. A Meyer lemon glows in the morning sun. Blueberries are ready for breakfast. A ripe peach waits beside your favorite chair. Fresh figs soften in the afternoon warmth. Butterflies drift through blooming cherry blossoms, while bees hum quietly from flower to flower. Everything around you feels alive. And the most satisfying part? Every piece of fruit came from a space you once believed was too small. Sometimes abundance isn't measured by the size of the garden. It's measured by the joy it brings. Now I'd love to hear from you. Which of these dwarf fruit trees would you plant first? Do you already have a favorite growing in a container? Share your experience in the comments below. Your advice could inspire another gardener to start their own patio orchard. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe to Roots and Remedies for more practical gardening tips, edible plants, medicinal herbs, and natural ways to create a thriving garden no matter how much space you have. Until next time, keep planting, keep learning, and remember, the smallest garden can grow the biggest dreams.